What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we'll be talking about the Bitcoin price chart, along with the XRP price chart, which got a big pop up there to $3 yesterday, off the heels of the most wild news that we've seen in crypto in some time, and especially for XRP, as XRP was named the very first digital asset to be included in the crypto strategic reserve by Donald Trump yesterday over there on Truth Social. As Donald Trump posts, a U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the Presidential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and Cardano. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. Prices began to immediately rip throughout the cryptocurrency market, not just for XRP, Cardano, and Solana, but just throughout the whole market. I was oblivious to the fact and was just looking at it from the perspective of, okay, great, we got the technical reaction that we were looking for, which are the things that we've been monitoring in here, and then realized some epic news had been dropped over the weekend. Now, I can see the statistics of the viewership of my YouTube videos, and I can see kind of like where viewership falls off. It's pretty obvious. It's once you get to the very end and you're kind of going through the outro, people are like, all right, the main content of this is over, and they back out. But if you didn't make it to the very end, I said something pretty interesting, and I made a big prediction, and then I said, we'll revisit it when we come back on Monday, and we'll see whether or not I have egg on my face. So I'll replay this part. This was the prediction I made last Friday at the end of the video. You know what? I'm going to make a prediction. Here we go. Every weekend that we have had for the last month and a half has been chaotic. Ever since the Friday where Trump released his meme coin, I don't think we have had a single tame weekend ever since then. I'm going to go out on the prediction and say we're going to have a good weekend. There's going to be something good that's going to happen this weekend. I can just feel it. It feels like it's time for that to happen and for the chaotic weekends to come to an end. So we'll check in on Monday and we can see if I have egg on my face on that or if we actually do get one for once. So I think we will. Now, of course, I'm not privy to any information to know that to be true, but it was really just based on the charts and everything leading up to that. I had just posted a newsletter that day. I'd gone all throughout the structure in here. It was a highly stressful newsletter because every day price action was down, down, down. So trying to create content and including a written form of charts that were ever changing, but we had reached a pretty good technical level. This has been the working thesis on how this market was going to behave. Remember the ideas of saying, Bitcoin could set a new low, but the altcoin market would hold its low. The altcoin market cap ended up holding the floor from the liquidation that happened back on February 2nd and 3rd. Whereas Bitcoin went down for the plunge. I outlined this big idea and thesis in Friday's video on how I think the market is, just kind of a continuation of the things that I've been talking about. And we really just reached that point where the market had capitulated, retail was fully convinced we're entering into a bear market, and we had been hit every single weekend with negative news throughout the whole month, right? Here's where Trump becomes president on January 20th. We get nothing but bad news every single weekend going into that. We finally reach a technical level. It was really just saying, hey, look, the magical unicorn fairy dust is about to make its appearance in here. And sure enough, with the biggest news that we've seen in crypto in some time, we sure do. So that was really just simply where we were at on the charts. Shocking to see it actually end up happening in here. So let's kind of talk about where we're at right now. I do already have video ideas in the pipeline, but I figured we'd just kind of talk about the reaction that we do have from today's price action, and with Bitcoin having gotten back to the mid 90s, which is something I wrote about on Friday, that, that's the thing we want to see it get back to the mid 90s. I think moving forward now, my thoughts are that Bitcoin is going to continue shifting its way up. The challenge is going to be at this point now is it's going to be kind of like climbing a wall of worry, where it's likely going to end up being a lot of different ranges to try to get its way up there to then finally ABC, and then we go for the parabola to come at the very end. The story is probably similar over there for the XRP price chart. We got the absolute reaction that we're looking for down here at these lows. Everything hits, we shoot up. Again, we can just deal with so much chop happening in here before things actually get their way out. But things we certainly wanted to see was that we would get away from where these support levels were and that we would see things happen down here, which we did. And we spent some time talking about Wyckoff accumulation and the spring phase here for the ending of XRP. On Friday, we zoomed in on this region. We showed all the phases of a crashing structure happening in here, and that we had our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 5. 6 goes back to wave 4. Within wave 5, there's 7. There's all your little waves right there in between. We had a perfect crashing structure happen in there. Typically, these things are actually just going to roll right back up here, and then we're going to ABC our way over here. Of course, we get hit with epic news in there, and so we just go ahead and shoot our way out. But again, another one of those reasons of being like, we've gotten bad news nonstop. We sure seem like we have completed everything that we would need to do in here for the bad news to come to an end. Retail sentiment is absolutely annihilated. It's been nothing but bad news the whole way down, and we've structurally completed everything that we need. Hey, how about we make XRP the number one asset added to the strategic reserve? You couldn't script it any better. Now, of course, this sent shockwaves for about an hour because why? Only XRP, Solana, and Cardano were mentioned. About an hour later, Trump did come out and say, well, yeah, we will add Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course. But boy, for that first hour, it was absolute craziness. So Bitcoin, you're okay too. Ethereum as well. But of course, it was interesting to also see that Cardano was mentioned in there because Cardano was brought up in the newsletter, was brought up on Friday's video, was brought up in the member stream about Cardano. And I get asked about that all the time. And I say, hey, my conviction on Cardano is very similar to that of XRP. I could ride that thing to zero. That's how strong my conviction is on it. So to see it get added to the reserve as well, I'm happy to see that too. Essentially, all of my top holdings did get added to the strategic crypto reserve. And, to be frank with you on something like Cardano in here, right? When you get a big candle like that, the question is just whether or not is there going to be the momentum, sustain it and keep it going out of here. I probably would have thought that, it would have been similar to like what we just talked with XRP, that there probably would have been some dragging out happening in here first before it goes. Something more the lines of this right in here, where sure, we could have had a little bit of a pop out, but there would still be kind of an ABC that would take place throughout here. So, we're less than 24 hours since this news has been released. We've seen the initial reaction from the market. I'm not sure if there's enough juice yet to get these things to actually go into escape velocity at this exact moment. We'll need some more price action to kind of play out. Original thoughts were that it would be kind of more like that before we can get our way out. Of course, I'm positioned in the market to where I'll take the surprise, I'll take the breakout, but I also have to keep emotions in check and expectations in check that it sure seems likely there would be some more consolidating happening in here after something like that. So when I look at things like this and think, there's probably going to be some chop that happens in here for a while. And I look at Bitcoin and think, there's probably going to be some chop that happens in here for a little while. That's just kind of the messaging I have to bring. But the main thing being that, one, look, we got off the lows. We got away from where we wanted to be. Structurally, all the ideas presented in the newsletters and the videos, they're all looking good at this point. These things too. And of course, all the people who ask me about Cardano all the time, well, guess what? It's added to the strategic reserve too. So overall, just a fantastic weekend, and the price has reflected that. So, we're kicking off Monday right now. At least I'm recording this several hours before the stock market even opens. And we're seeing a pullback from the epic rises that happened yesterday on Sunday. But you could see even with the screenshot that I had at the time, XRP was up 33%, Cardano was up 69%. So we're seeing some settling come off of that. And with this particular volatility, it's going to be very difficult for me to guess in this exact moment where each one of these stops is going to happen. Where's this little floor going to come in at here and there? Where's this little resistance going to come at in here when we're looking at things on really short time frames right now? The main thing to see was the reaction levels of where we got them at, and that prices got back to really exactly where you would hope they would get back to, right? If I take a lot of this off the screen in here, right? The idea is just being that we can at least get back to where the breakdown happened over here for Bitcoin. And that's exactly where we got to, back to the breakdown for Bitcoin, which then, is met with some volatility before then trying to go higher. And so that's what we're really looking for. We're looking for a constant, continued climbing to happen over here for Bitcoin and to take the rest of the cryptocurrency market with it. It'll be a working thesis and we'll elaborate on it more in the future. But, the question I think is, when do you see the Bitcoin dominance start to fall on itself and collapse on itself and the alts just completely take over? My thoughts are probably that Bitcoin works its way up. And once it gets that ABC correction completed in there, that's where it all breaks loose and everything goes into that euphoria, irrational exuberance, extreme risk-taking environment. We know we're still at the wall of worry right now because you see a lot of people posting, look, we're just right back at a resistance breakdown from where we were, right? So here's the range, there's the breakdown, we're just right back at it. Well, technically speaking, we're right back above it, but right, this is the floor of where this breakdown happens from. It's technically on top of it, but there was a lot of wrong footing that happened down there at the lows because you know that from sentiment. So we're going to climb a wall of worry. There's still going to be a lot of cautious posting that happens out there. But just so you know, when you're watching this YouTube channel, this is the formula I'm going with. This is the one I've been presenting on here for weeks now. And we got the absolute perfect reaction to happen down there at the lows. And we got XRP to wonderfully react from the levels we were looking at. As a side note as well, we did end up seeing Friday end very positively for the stock market. So the Dow was up 600 points, the NASDAQ was up 333 points, and the Russell was up, I don't see it on here, but maybe 30 points, maybe 40, as it was revisiting a support level there on Friday. So that was actually our first time since Trump took office to have Friday end positively. Again, another one of those like magical unicorn fairy dust things of being like, hey, you know what? We've had everything hitting the fan in the stock market as we go into Friday every single week. And yet this Friday, we actually had things turn their way around. Looks like the Russell's going to open up about 18 points. It's still several hours before the United States stock market opens as I'm recording this, but we have a continued green momentum happening here to at least start the day out, and we'll check on this again tomorrow. And a side note was that we actually saw the first red week happen over there for gold, where from its peak it fell over $100 after 8 consecutive green weeks. Otherwise, great reaction for the crypto market, great reaction for Bitcoin, right on cue for what we were looking for. There's probably going to be some ranging that happens throughout here, but we've gotten ourselves away from the floor. There's probably going to be a lot of complications and difficulties of getting an actual strategic reserve created for the crypto market, whether that means that the US government actually buys any of the crypto or if they're gifted it and just retain it, how they're going to get that passed through Congress. It's hard to know. I'm certainly not sitting here thinking, oh, the United States government's going to pump my bags. I actually just look at this through the lens of there was the stamp of approval. It's not a Bitcoin economy. It's a cryptocurrency economy. And the very first ones to get the stamp of approval are XRP, Solana, and Cardano. And the very first one, even though it's mentioned in a batch, it doesn't matter. The very first one was XRP, before Bitcoin, before Ethereum, and technically before Cardano and before Solana, right there at number one. I have no clue how a strategic reserve would ever get approved or work, but there's no question the masses, the media, retail investors, Wall Street, they all just got told the green light on these assets. And that, I think, probably has just as much of an impact than if the United States government went out and bought, a 0.5% of the supply or something like that, right? The big money got the green light. So moral of the story is we finally got some positive news. It showed up right where it should have. Bitcoin had a great reaction, probably choppy stuff. Probably the same thing over here for XRP. Probably a lot of chop happening in here. We'll get some more price action to play out. The biggest things happening in here is that we shot up off of the support floors, which is what we were looking for. And we got it over here for Bitcoin. So we'll have a lot to talk about this week. I do already have video ideas and the pipeline for things that we will talk about when it pertains to XRP. I found some extreme confluences over there. Still very optimistic for that $8, $9, $10 price level. And of course, for Bitcoin to continue creating that parabola and for us to finally see a bull market show up here in the cryptocurrency market where that dominance does fall. Otherwise, we'll get this one released pretty early as we kick off the new week. Bitcoin back in the 90,000s, XRP back in the 260s. Hey, great way to start the week. If you'd like to see the things that we were talking about heading into this and how this is really the type of structures that we're looking for and the price behavior that we're looking for, you can check out the newsletter that was released just a couple of days ago here before this event even happened over here at blockchainbacker.substack.com. It includes a 34-minute audio recording in here. I do personally record all of my newsletters. And if you sign up over here on Substack, you also get access to all the past ones as well, which there's a total of 58 of them, all with audio recordings. You can also check out bcbacker.com, which has over 40 videos and 11 hours of content teaching you how to set up your own charts and indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. There are links in the descriptions of all of my videos to the newsletter at blockchainbacker.substack.com and to bcbacker.com. Otherwise, happy new week. For the first time, we are coming off of a positive weekend rather than a negative weekend ever since Trump took office, and probably one of the most surprising weekends we've seen. So, all right. That's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.